Hello everyone, welcome to Jupiter Mahadasha. What can you expect when Jupiter or Guru takes control of your destiny for 16 years? All the details are on this video, including judgment from the sign of Jupiter, your rising sign, and how to judge Jupiter position in your own chart for personal effect. I will also be giving remedies as well. If you are new to my channel, sub below. Let's begin. So what can we expect in Jupiter Mahadasha? We need to understand the agenda and purpose of Jupiter or Guru in his 16-year period. Right away, I want to make a very important point. I believe, and I've seen this, that people get confused with Jupiter and Venus. They expect Jupiter Mahadasha will be job promotion, marriage, children, happiness, bliss, all sorts of fantastic openings in their life. And they become disappointed when it doesn't quite go that way. And for some people it does go that way and they get a bit ahead of themselves. So on this video I'm going to give you the hard truth of it, what exactly Jupiter Mahadasha will bring you and how to be in this Mahadasha that you don't lose these things. So Jupiter is the teacher, the guru to the devatas, the pure beings, but he has a purpose in all of our lives to bring us back our good karmas, our pious activities, but to encourage us to the highest wisdom. Jupiter gives us the key because knowledge is a key that takes us out of the prison house we are in. Some people don't even realize they are in a prison house or in complete ignorance of what this material world actually is. So Jupiter is here to give that knowledge. So in fact, everything which Jupiter brings to us in our charts by transit and in Mahadasha is actually to increase that knowledge, to give us the opportunity for pious activity, for dharmic activity. He will not allow you to stay in a place or situation which could be dangerous for that purpose. In this way, you have to judge what you are doing and see why maybe sometimes you can become disappointed in this Mahadasha. He's going to take away situations, people, circumstances which will ultimately cause you to undharmic action and to great pain and suffering. He knows the right place for you. He knows the right job, the right relationship, the right situation for you where you can be your highest self and do actions which will be glorious for you in your future incarnation. So yes, it's very high-minded indeed, isn't it? But that is Jupiter's agenda. In addition to this, however, Jupiter is definitely Karaka for very important factors in our life that bring us security and happiness. He is Karaka for husband, for female chart, wealth for everybody, education and children. So these factors, more than anything else, often become predominant in our lives in this Mahadasha. Now, how far these factors will enter your life in this time period depends on your natal position of Jupiter, and I will be discussing that on this video. Let's move ahead and discuss remedial measures which are definitely important for everybody. So, remedial measures for Jupiter Mahadasha. Fasting on Thursdays, of course, and austerities on that day is helpful. But coming from Pandit Sanjay Rath, let's hear about the good and the negative Jupiter karmas. Jupiter karmas which are positive and help us come from educating others and actually giving guidance. Also helping younger people. Jupiter karmas which are negative are where we are disrespectful to elders, teachers and gurus. So we have to be mindful of those factors. So the first thing that everybody tends to notice, and I've seen this and I've heard this reported, when Jupiter Mahadasha occurs, you begin to engage more with religious activities. Everybody does. Even if you are an atheist, agnostic, you become concerned with serving humanity, with doing good deeds. You wouldn't call it religious, but that's what you do. Something clicks off in your brain. It's a call to Dharma. In fact, when the demoniac king Ravana was actually dying and Lord Ram sent Lakshman to hear his last words, and this is in Ramayana, he actually said the most important thing in life, the greatest teaching we should know for life is to never delay doing good deeds, but always delay bad deeds. And what tends to happen is that we do the opposite. We are always quick to do what is not good for us and slow to do what is good for us. So this is what Jupiter is here to remedy in our lives, making us quicker and more concerned about doing good deeds. This is only helpful for sure. Travel is often seen in Jupiter Mahadasha to foreign lands more than anything because of the 9th house Sagittarius, 12th house Pisces are both indicating foreign residence. Sometimes you live there or you are temporarily there, but foreign lands, foreign cultures are a big factor, definitely. Mental state at this time for most people is generally very positive because no matter how difficult circumstances are, Jupiter inclines you to see the glass half full, not empty. You are inclined to look to the future because Jupiter is about future events. You are inclined to be positive and optimistic. So all of this helps your mental state. One thing is that sometimes if you have ill aspected Jupiter, there can be confusion of life direction because so much is going on. So many new people in your life that you lose the plot sometimes. So you have to mind out for that. But generally speaking, Jupiter stabilizes mental health and it's very helpful. Now, no matter what your age group, Jupiter will incline you to learning. He expands your capacity for learning and he makes you understand concepts that you maybe didn't do before. So it's a great time to learn any new skill. It's a great time for academic education. For spiritual knowledge, there could be no better time. Jupiter expands you into past knowledge also. Very often he brings a very special teacher, guide or guru into your life. This is most commonly seen. Jupiter Mahadasha often brings health problems. This is very surprising to people to learn this, but not at all because Jupiter rules overindulgence and he tempts us into that. But even more than that, at the very beginning of this 16-year period, because the end of Rahu has occurred, Rahu is hidden illness, illnesses come to the fore at this time. But again, we can often get good advice because Jupiter gives good medical help for us. So very often we begin to take good care of our health at this time, some of us, but we do have to be mindful. Jupiter is liver. It's about purifying all of those toxins out of our body, and my goodness, it's a temptation to overindulgence also. So we have to watch our food, our drink, and are we having enough exercise? Sagittarius rules thighs, it rules movement and exercise, so as much of that as you can possibly get is definitely favored at this time. Now, Jupiter wants to give you a feeling of stability and security in your life. Therefore, it can be surprising the amount of career instability that seems to happen to people at this time. There's a lot of shifting going on. People gain jobs, lose jobs, find jobs, and then move on. It's a very unstable dasha for career status because it's not that Jupiter doesn't want to give you these things, but he wants you to be in the right place. So because of this, there's a lot of shifting going on. But eventually, most people find that they move into a much more suitable area if there is loss of job or that sort of instability. Now, Jupiter most definitely is a karaka for wealth and can increase wealth to a great extent for many people in this time period. But he is also the ruler of Pisces, 12th house, which is about loss. So sometimes money can come to you but slip through your fingers. This can be seen. There can be sudden gain of wealth and sudden loss also. See, Jupiter doesn't really favor speculation as much as people think. In the Western system, Jupiter's been attached to all of these speculative gain factors, but really that's not his job at all. He's not even that happy in the 5th house. That's because he's Karaka there. So he can give unexpected gain, he can give unexpected job promotion, etc., etc. But where he does, that's all to do with past karmas coming back. And he's always testing you when he gives you this sudden increase in wealth. What are you going to do with this money? Are you going to be charitable? Are you going to be dharmic? Or are you going to be wasteful? Very important to consider, everyone, because the next Mahadasha is Saturn Mahadasha, and we all know how we get karmic comeback then, so it's very important to be aware of this. Jupiter favors relationships most definitely because he's about bringing people together. So you can often meet a new partner if you are looking for someone at this time. It's often seen. If you are married, then you can have an increase in your marital bliss at this time because Jupiter curbs those excesses and selfishness and gives a good feeling to a relationship. But if there is ill Jupiter karma, there can be even splits sometimes seen because Jupiter will not let you stay in an unhappy situation. And then also Jupiter can actually get you married if it is the right time and you start a family, because Jupiter is Karaka for husband, female chart, and for children. So birth of children is most definitely associated with Jupiter Mahadasha. But children come into your life in surprisingly different ways, through family or friends or even working situations. You enjoy that buzz of being with younger people. If you are older, it can often be grandchildren having a huge impact on your life. Is there a good time or bad time? Absolutely not to have Jupiter Mahadasha. It is always going to bring you favourable factors according to your age. Sometimes though, in youth, although education is obviously favoured, there can be lack of direction and wastefulness. Middle age is perhaps the most stable time to experience this, around 50s really, because that is actually the time that Jupiter rules our life according to the natural Dasha system. Jupiter rules 50s, when you are full of wisdom and you want to help other people. So Jupiter makes you feel very good in that later middle age for most people. And old age, of course, Jupiter gives you wisdom and happiness with your family very often. Next, how to judge Jupiter Dasha in your chart according to Jupiter's position. Check the link below. I have a playlist, How to Judge Mahadasha, which will definitely give you factors to help you with that. And coming up very soon, an important video in that series where I show you how to put Jupiter in the first house of your chart and to make a Mahadasha chart and how to judge from that. But let's move on to have a look at the most important judgments you can make straight away. Key judgment then for Jupiter Mahadasha, everybody. Number 1, the house ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter rules Pisces and Sagittarius in your chart. Those houses have great importance in what Jupiter can bring you for good or ill. So on this very video, I will consider every ascendant in that light for you. The second rule, the sign and house of the dispositor of Jupiter. If Jupiter is in, say, Gemini, where is Mercury? What is Mercury's aspect and conditions? This will definitely give you the final result of this Mahadasha as per Pandit Sanjay Rath. Finally, the sign and house placement of Jupiter is of course important. The sign itself is carrying important karma. If you are not aware of that, please check the link below. I have a whole video with all of those details given to you in some depth. Now, on this video, let's consider the sign of Jupiter insofar as it affects your internal mental state during this time. So if you have Jupiter placed in a fire sign in your birth chart, D1 I'm talking about, in Aries, Sagittarius or Leo, this is quite favorable because it's going to give you an inner confidence and forward motion in this Mahadasha for sure. Aries, you definitely feel confident in this 16-year period, mostly no matter what afflictions or lagna, inside you are able to make right choices and find really good opportunities. Often travel, foreign lands is a big thing. Equally Sagittarius, my goodness, You have such a well-placed guru giving you guidance from past life karmas. That very guru, that very teacher may well come into your life in this Mahadasha. Leo, you gain confidence, you gain status, you gain promotion. It's very favorable. Now, when you have Jupiter in earth signs like Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, these Jupiter signs are not really in tune with the deep meaning of Jupiterian energy due to past karmas. So these earth signs like a stable existence, and Jupiter, Sagittarius, Pisces rule is not about stability. He's about education, movement, new vistas, new places. So Taurus particularly, internally you feel a bit thrown off, even though often wealth increases for you. Capricorn, you are very ambitious with this Jupiter sign. You want to make a difference in the world sometimes. Even political factors can be there. But Jupiter is debilitated in this sign. So Jupiter Mahadasha is going to bring difficult choices. I've seen that you have to go this way, that way, and it can be challenging sometimes. Virgo Jupiter, it's going to affect your health very often. I've seen this. You've got to be very cautious with health concerns, but don't forget Jupiter is munificent, so whatever challenges, even if he's in earth sign natally, by Jupiterian remedies, as on this video, you can overcome these difficulties. Now, when you have Jupiter placed in air sign in your birth chart, Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter Aquarius, Jupiter Libra, you've got a similar factor to the earth signs. Jupiter energy is not working smoothly in your psyche. Jupiter Gemini, this is difficult because you like a fast-paced, changing life, very much on a different level to Jupiter's high moral action. Sometimes Gemini can take the shortcut, the short route, can be a bit crafty sometimes. Jupiter won't let you get away with these things. Jupiter's keeping an eye on you. So I found that Gemini Jupiter feels a little bit constrained, feels as though people are watching you, that you can't do things the way you would like to. So it's a little bit stressful. I would say for all earth signs, Jupiter Mahadasha increases stress, most definitely. Aquarius Jupiter, my goodness, you want to help people, you want to help humanity, but this is the Mahadasha when you're going to be challenged to do the things you always said you were going to do. But you're a fixed sign. You don't like to turn your life upside down, and you may have to make more changes than you would like to. Sometimes that can be seen. Libra, you're so relationship orientated, having this guru here, and so you can definitely expect some big relationship changes taking place, which may be good or bad according to your chart. So when you have Jupiter in a water sign, Jupiter Cancer, Jupiter Scorpio, Jupiter Pisces, Guru Mahadasha comes into your life. Your hopes manifest in a big way, many of you. You finally feel freed up to be who you truly are. So if you've been on the wrong path in your life, Jupiter Mahadasha for water signs will put you back on the correct path for yourself. Cancer Jupiter will give a Mahadasha of enormous opportunity because Jupiter is exalted here. So you could expect all sorts of doors in all areas of your life to certainly open to you. Scorpio Jupiter, what knowledge, what wisdom you will gain as you've never gained before, most certainly, and you will feel secure. In fact, I want to make a point that water signs get a huge feeling of security, inner safety in this Mahadasha. Scorpio especially. Pisces Mahadasha, you find your true spiritual wisdom now. The most amazing knowledge comes to you from unexpected quarters, from new teachers. Everybody seems to be teaching you something. There is no end to the wisdom and the bliss this will absolutely give you. Finally, everybody, by the ascendant in your birth chart, and indeed in the key divisional charts, D1 Lagna, D10 Lagna. In fact, often even D60 Lagna gives us, if you do have that chart, a final clue as to the karmas in this Mahadasha. Check all of those out, because putting them together, you will see how beneficent or not this 16-year period will be for you. Let's begin. And finally, I will actually add that if you do not have accurate birth time, use moon sign, because moon is Chandra Lagna, and you can certainly also judge from that point as well. So where you have Aries Lagnas in your chart, particularly D1 chart with Sagittarius 9th and Pisces 12th house, your Mars ruler will be in complete harmony with this energy. There's only one minus, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The good stuff is that you are in harmony with Jupiter's purpose. You have the courage, you have the wisdom, and you definitely have the energy to make the most of the opportunities. Jupiter will bring you foreign travel. Definitely teacher, definitely guru. Education could not be better favored, because this is higher education house. You will definitely go all the way in any educational sphere in this Mahadasha. If you are moving to foreign land, it is very favored. Anywhere where you actually go into new cultures, because 9th and 12th are new cultures, will really make your life so much better in every way. So travel, moving home, education, and having guidance in your life, going for the higher guidance, will always help you. This house, 12th house, gives you intuition, gives you spiritual wisdom. So you find the most fantastic spiritual knowledge and experience if you are Aries in this Jupiter period, and you have luck on your side. Jupiter favors you. You see, here's the downside. Aries is a little bit too impulsive, so sometimes you might overstep the mark, particularly on your foreign travels. You might get yourself into sticky wickets sometimes, but Jupiter will pull you out of that. Jupiter will put you on dry land again. So no holds barred. This is a very favorable Mahadasha, and actually father concerns often get better for you in this Mahadasha as well. So you are doing all the right things, having all the right attitude as a Mars-led person to make the most of this Mahadasha for sure. When you have Jupiter rising in your birth chart or in any Virgo chart, Jupiter Mahadasha is going to require some caution here. Jupiter is actually a functional malefic planet because he rules the 8th and 11th house of your chart. The problem is integrating the Jupiter opportunities with your Venus ruler. There is a conflict of interests here. So 8th house activation means that unexpected factors occur, that unexpected events occur that throw you off a little bit. You absolutely have to watch health for sure in this time period. But the 11th house has some good factors too. New opportunities, a feeling of wider vistas opening up in your life. You become perhaps on a new career trajectory, a new door opens to you that was not expected, so there can be loss and there can be gain as well. Friendships are helpful to you. People support you. People are behind you. People have your back, as it were. It feels a lot more like you are supported. But when the chips are down, when the unexpected events occur, who is there for you then? You may begin to question some of your friendships, some of you at this time. So it's a choppy Mahadasha. But there will be gain, because 11th house influenced here will definitely enable you to increase assets by the end of this Mahadasha for sure. So when you have Gemini Lagna in your birth chart or in any Virgo chart, Jupiter Mahadasha is going to throw you a little bit off course, as it were. Jupiter rules two tricky houses for you, the 10th house and the 7th house. 7th is Marika, and these Kendra houses being ruled by a benefic makes it more malefic for you. So it's very challenging, but here's the reason why. Because you feel as a Mercury-led person, as though everybody else has taken control of your life. You feel as though you've lost the reins of your life, but it won't be for the whole Mahadasha. It's more the beginning. What you very often find is that job factors become unstable. There can be things like a new boss, if you like, a superior who doesn't get on with you. I've seen this happen. You can have difficulties with your spouse, or it's hard to maintain relationships in the way you would like them to go. There can be all sorts of factors. Businesses particularly have a lot of concern if you are in self-employment. So there's a lot of challenges from other people. It's the 7th house. Other people are throwing you these curveballs. That's what you will definitely see in this time period. But putting remedies into place, Mercury is resilient. So in the end, after much tribulation, you will get on top of these factors, and you may even have a completely different career at the end of this Mahadasha period. Now, when you are Cancer Lagna in your birth chart or any Virgo chart, Jupiter Mahadasha works out well for you indeed, because Jupiter rules the 9th house of your chart, giving you the fortune to find your place in life. But the 6th house rulership may seem contradictory, but it's not. 9th house takes the actual superior function of this 6th house here. What's happening is you go through periodic conflicts. There may be health issues, there may be spousal issues, there may be workplace issues, there may be all sorts of litigations sometimes that are stressful to you. But all of these 6th house factors work for your good, because the 9th house takes control of it all. So you have to go through quite a lot of choppy water in this Mahadasha. It's not a smooth Mahadasha by any means where you have Cancer on Lagna, but in the end, fortune favors you, particularly in education, particularly in foreign lands, and particularly from teachers, gurus, all who you are learning from. It's an ultimately favorable time when your knowledge, your experience, and your wisdom increases for sure. So when you have Leo Lagna in your Virgo chart or in your birth chart, you can expect good fortune in Jupiter Mahadasha for sure, because Jupiter is your 5th house lord, ruling the good deeds from your past life. And Jupiter is here to bring them back to you as good, unexpected fortune for sure. You can even have speculative gains sometimes in this Mahadasha, and wealth is definitely guaranteed to you, because the 8th house can actually give you unexpected legacies and unexpected gain. But this 8th house factor can give you unexpected financial ups and downs as well, but you always come out of them. In fact, unexpected financial factors work for your benefit. So Leo, you gain property sometimes, wealth, all sorts of support from family members as well. Most importantly, children are supremely well aspected for you, and your education goes to the very heights of success. So your life is on the up and you are more confident than ever. If there are any unexpected factors, you deal with them smartly and you come out on top. When you have Virgo rising in your chart or in any Virgo chart, it's all change in Jupiter Mahadasha, because Jupiter rules 2 prominent Kendra houses, but one is Marika, don't forget. So there can be health issues. Watch your health, watch your diet, de-stress at all times, Virgo. Just like Gemini, you are prone to extreme stress in this Jupiter 16-year period. What's happening is that your domestic life becomes immediately unsettled. You become dissatisfied with your home life, and your spouse may be involved in this. Spousal relationships can become tense for some people, but not always. Sometimes spouse is having a completely difficult time and you are taking on this as well, or spouses changing, spouses into new factors, and you have to go along with them. But they can be definitely worked through. Why? Because Mercury is adaptable fundamentally. The issue is, though, that just like Gemini Lagna, Virgo Lagna feels that you've lost a bit of control of your life because other people, factors outside of your control, are taking control of you. But ultimately, if you get control of those health issues, if you sort out your domestic life, you can end up in a far better place at the end of this Mahadasha. Certainly, many of you move home. Many of you start a whole new career working from home. Big changes definitely happen. So for Libra Lagna in any Virgo chart, including D1, this is a little bit of a challenging Mahadasha for sure for you, because Venus and Jupiter are both gurus, but they have a different agenda. So you like to keep your life very much in a business, materialistic way, moving forward, getting more and more prosperity. Well, the good news is this Mahadasha can actually be good for your prosperity, but it's going to be challenging to get there. That's the thing. Why is this? Because the third house requires effort. So you won't have any lazy moments in Jupiter Mahadasha. Libra, you're going to be at this all the time, constantly working. Sixth house indicates some health concerns may be there, but it's not so much about health. It's about the amount of effort which you have to put in here. Conflicts in your workplace may develop. Issues with spouse sometimes, but that's not the main thing. Sibling issues most certainly can become troublesome. So what you feel is that you are dealing with difficulties on all quarters of your life, but you come out on top of them. You gain new skills. Jupiter Mahadasha skills you. You may change your job. You may have a whole new skill base at the end of this 16-year period. You meet amazing new people. You're moving around a lot because of this third house, and new contacts help you in your working situation. So there's a pluses and minuses here, but mainly you have to keep on working 24/7, and then you will certainly have some great benefit here, because Jupiter always means to benefit us. Don't forget that. So when you have Scorpio Lagna, Scorpio rising in your D1 birth chart or any Virgo chart, expect Jupiter Mahadasha to be fortunate for that area of your life, most definitely. Wealth will increase to a great amount often. You get support of your family. You feel more secure. You feel like you are far more safe. You know what you want in life. You know how to go to get it. And you are supported. That's the main thing. Children, extremely favorable. Birth of new children, if that is the correct age for you. And of course, you will gain supreme education success if you are in education. You will feel as though luck has all of a sudden turned for you, as though the gods are smiling on you. Scorpio, this is the most favorable Mahadasha sometimes of your life, even more than Mars for you sometimes. So make the most of this time. So when Sagittarius is rising in your birth chart or in any Virgo chart, Jupiter Mahadasha definitely favors you. As your lord of your first house, Jupiter will certainly protect you from all harm in this Mahadasha, but there are some conflicts. Home life can be changeable. You can be changing residence almost constantly, some of you, but in the end you will find the perfect home for you. Jupiter will take you to a foreign residence very often. You will leave your homeland. You will find new vistas in your life. But mother issues may be there. There may be health concerns for yourself sometimes as well. But you come out on top of these. You will definitely find wealth increases. Education is supremely aspected here. So you find your true place in the sun in this Mahadasha. And as well as this, many of you even find a true guide or guru. So it's a very destined time in your life when your ruling planet guides you to the place you are meant to be. So when you have Capricorn rising or Capricorn in any Virgo chart, you've got to be very cautious in Jupiter Mahadasha, which is fortunate because Capricorn, you are generally cautious and contained, because you're going to find a lot of unsettling aspects around foreign travel, travel in general, and sibling issues. But the most important factor that you will definitely see is financial loss in some way, expenses. But here's the good news. Because this is a third house Mahadasha, you gain new skills, new job opportunities, new openings that help you to make up for these losses. So stay optimistic and stay grounded. You will have unexpected factors that seem to take the reins out of your hands for sure. But because you are a very down-to-earth sign ruled by Shani, you do not lose your head. You always stay focused. You always stay on task. So even though unexpected factors will arise in this Mahadasha, as I say, mainly financial, you will overcome them most definitely. So for Aquarius Lagna in your birth chart or in any Virgo chart, it's a mixed factor. But here's the thing, just like Capricorn, Shani led, you have financial upset often to begin with. Particularly it's family based for you. Family issues, family concerns, family arguments even, a great deal of distress, but then you sort it all out, because by the end of this Mahadasha, you are moving in new circles by this 11th house rulership, new friends, new job, very often new income, rise in your income over this time. So even though you have to deal with unexpected loss, you have unexpected gain also. So very often you are at a much better place at the end of this Mahadasha than you were at the very beginning, getting you ready indeed for Shani Mahadasha, your ruling planet. So for Pisces Lagna in your birth chart and in all Virgo charts, Jupiter Mahadasha is supremely favorable for you. But here's the thing, he is your first house lord, therefore protecting you in this 16-year period. But he also lords your 10th house. So unexpected job issues can arise early on in this Mahadasha. Sometimes even job loss for some of you. But you come through this to a great extent and actually end up far better off. You find a new job, new career even, new status, and really good success. People begin to look up to you. They see you in a completely different light. It's as though you've been sort of reborn actually. You become who you were meant to be. Jupiter is guiding you to your true destiny in this Mahadasha. So expect spiritual wisdom, gurus, teachers to come to you, to show themselves to you, and you find great satisfaction in this. You become a helpmate to so many people and become very much loved. So you feel a real deep security in your soul in this Mahadasha. So to supplement this video, everybody, check out the video on your screen right now, giving you information about Jupiter's position in your birth chart. If you are new to my channel, sub below. Coming up, new videos on Vedic astrology and all aspects of astrology. Goodbye for now, and God bless you all.